In this video, I want to talk about, well, I should say, start to talk about one of the D's of the violence. And that D, so as I said before, violence is rooted in four D's. One of them really is not a root, it's only been misplaced by the society, and that's depression. The other three D's belong there. And one of those three D's, the real root causes of violence, which the three of them being deaf, dumb, and dark, is dumb. So I want to talk about what do I mean by the dumb side of the root causes of violence. Well, that includes pretty much most of people. And I hate to say that. If it's insulting to you, I don't mean that to be it to be that way. Let me start by saying I was one of the dumb people. I feel I still am dumb. Because when it comes to the actions of narcissists, not the overt. Remember, the overt is so easy to spot, and when you talk about the dark narcissist, everybody thinks, "Oh, I can tell who is narcissist just by looking at how they talk." No, you can't. That is the overt version. That is so obvious, and everybody can tell it. The covert, the chameleon, the two-faced narcissist, the one who has, it's called Janus-faced. They are so deceptive. They are so manipulative and good in their game that they can fool even the smartest people, much less most of us who are not that smart. Let's face it, right? So, including myself. I mean, so if you're a good person, if you have a good heart, chances are you belong to the dumb category when it comes to detecting and knowing how to deal with these narcissists, covert narcissists again. Please, 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 I will dedicate videos to this. These two shouldn't even be under the same umbrella. Overt and covert narcissists are so different that, in fact, I will dedicate a specific video to how it's a very, very bad idea to put them in the same umbrella, because that gives people illusion of, oh, I know what narcissist means. What do you think? I'm smart enough to detect. No, you're not. Um, so dumb covers many of us, including myself, as I said. Um, Especially if you've been lucky enough from your childhood to receive kindness, you automatically assume, just like how I did, that everybody means well. I mean well. I like to do the best for people. I like to elevate people, even sometimes at the cost of hurting myself. So that means everybody's that way. No, why shouldn't be? Why shouldn't everybody mean well? So chances are the word jealousy to you is undefined. That's what makes us dumb. To see the effects and consequences of jealousy in people who have, that's their core of their existence. For them, it's not just one trait, it's what drives them. It's what drives all their actions. It's what drives them to try to hurt people. Okay, enough of abstract talking. Let's talk a little bit about the very obvious example of this. And again, that belongs to the dark side, which I'm not going to go to too much detail. But one of these dark people right now is Vladimir Putin, which I propose and proudly claim that he is a classic example of a covert narcissist. A person who complains about, well, I'm going to Ukraine because I'm going there to give love. I'm going there because I want to save them from problems, from Nazis. I want to go there to tell them how much they mean to us Russians. That they are like my children, they're part of my civilization, that they are this and that. And I wished my, so kind of like their child. This is an abusive, self-proclaimed parent. And Ukrainian may not like this classification that I'm gonna make, but I go with it. I don't care if they like it or not. I love Ukrainian, and I know that the moment I say this, they're gonna say, well, "How dare you say we are a child of Russian Empire?" No, I'm saying when you are a smaller country, you are in between two bigger powers, the Western Europe power and the Russian Empire. Whether you like it or not, you will be considered by these two as their child. Because you will have traits of both of these, just like a child has traits of a father and a mother. You are influenced by these civilizations, whether you like it or not. I do respect your independence. I know you've been an independent country, just like Poland has been. But Poland is also kind of like a child between the Western and Eastern powers to its borders. So I don't mean that you owe them anything when I say you're like their child. So this is an abusive parent who has certain claims, saying, I'm trying to give love, but I don't receive love back from my child. My child is very unruly, unappreciative. Now, as I said, I don't want to go too much to the claims of the darkness. I will talk about that later. But the dumb that we are, and let me give you an example of a dumb. Um, what's the name of this guy? The old 90 years old guy. Henry Kissinger. He is one of the dumb people. Basically, many people, many experts, and this is what the expert problem is about. My studies, my behavioral sciences studies show, it's not my studies really, it's what I've read about other studies, and I did some contribution of my own, some experiments of my own, that shows expertise is a plague. Expertise sometimes can become a disease. What do I mean by that? It's called expert problem in the field of judgment and decision making. It means when you are a one-trick pony, especially, so we have fox versus hedgehog, especially if you're a hedgehog, as Isaiah Berlin says. This is classification by Isaiah Berlin. Fox is a guy who knows a lot of things, maybe not in so much depth, but he knows this area and that area, a multidisciplinary person pretty much. Or a person who knows a discipline and has some ideas about the neighboring topics too. A hedgehog, on the other hand, is a person who is so sharp in one thing. I want to call the hedgehog the one-trick pony. Many of us, hey, I've been studying in college psychology. That's all I know. That's all I want to make money with. I don't care about other fields. Or I'm an economist. Or I'm Henry Kissinger. I'm a political economist. I'm a politician, the real politics inventor, or whatever. These people learn few words and they want to apply those words to every situation. Where does the dumb Henry Kissinger go wrong? He forgets about the fact that politics is way, way, way more personal than what you think. Politics is way more about people, like persons, and their personalities, especially their dark personalities, like Vladimir Putin, than what you think. Instead, these one-trick ponies try to give you fancy words like national interest. This is how I'm going to analyze the whole events of the world. The countries are driven not by people, but by the pursuit of national interest. Sounds really fancy, right? Sounds really professional. Oh my God. So if the choice is between taking the word of a guy who says countries are in the pursuit of national interest versus a funny guy who says countries may be driven by the dark dreams or nightmares of a dark personality leader, which one should I believe? The first one is glorious. National interest is a glorious word. Dark personality is so personal. It's so not scientific. It's so not. I don't like it. So isn't it the joke that I told you? Instead of in previous videos, instead of searching the basement where the answer is, where you lost your jewelry, you don't search there because it's dark there. You come upstairs, you search the living room where you know the jewelry is not there, but because this is what I know, I'm going to search where there is light, where I have explanatory power with the theories I've learned. Excuse me, the one-trick pony, Henry Kissinger. Not every country is driven by the pursuit of national interest. Same criticism I have for the dumb economists, the one-trick pony economists who think everybody is about pursuit of maximizing their utility. No. Then came, okay, I don't want to go to too much detail right now. Then came the behavioral economists who say, well, let's clarify what we mean by utility. Yes, there are biases and mistakes, but then there are justifications for those. Let's not talk about all that. So if you know one thing real good, you are in danger of being a one-trick pony. You're in danger of being blind by your knowledge. You're in danger of making what mistakes that every expert makes, which is falling in love with your theories. And let me make a confession, because every time I talk about it, I remember my own dark past. I was 24, 23, 4 years old, and I had a very good economics professor back in my country. His name was Dr. Salehi. He was a wonderful professor, and as much as he warned us not to fall in love with these theories, these elegant theories like price mechanism, well, he was a liberal economist. He was a believer in capitalism. He was a believer in all this. But at the same time, he kept warning us, do not fall in love. But it's so hard to not fall in love. And one day in his class, so I think he himself might have fallen in love. It's just inevitable. If you study economics, it's inevitable that at first you fall in love with all this elegance of these theories. There's no way until you learn the buts and ifs and exceptions, and you realize that the exceptions are way bigger than the norms. So hence creates a new field for that. So what was my dumb answer back then? One day a guy in our class raised his hand and said, Professor, this makes no sense, these assumptions that you have for this model. And the professor said, I know who has the answer to your criticism. And he pointed at me. And like a dumb robot, I stood up, and I thought, my first instinct was, no, I don't. How does he think I know the answer? But then I realized, oh yeah, well, if we remove that assumption that we are not able to make any, then we are not able to talk. Then we are not able to make any progress in this elegant model of economic theory that we had. I don't remember what was the assumption. And he said that's the answer. And I was so proud of him. See, I'm the good student. How dumb was I? How dumb was I? Every time I listen to people who are as dumb as what I was back then, I say, this is the price that you pay for the sin that you made back then by shutting this guy down. Who said you should always talk? If your assumptions are dumb, maybe you should go back to the corner of your room and don't talk. Who said you should make dumb assumptions and then say, well, we need these assumptions because if we don't, then how are we supposed to talk? Well, then don't. Just don't talk. This is what I'm saying to all these people who say, if we remove the concept of national interest, how are we supposed to make predictions about the behavior of the countries? Well, excuse me. If this is a dumb assumption and you see examples of it, Vladimir Putin is a very potent example of it, then maybe it's time to say, well, until I can find better assumptions, better models, like the model I like to see is that to propose is that more and more and more politics becomes personal, because more and more and more smart, dark, Machiavellianistic politicians learn how to play with people, how to tweak people's. They present themselves as saviors, as the champion of nationalism. So more and more politics becomes personal rather than what's good for people, aka national interest. So I'm not done with DOMs because DOMs are so prevalent in every field, especially in these fields: psychology, economics, politics, which means political economics, game theory, which is a beloved field of mine, but I realize how dumb we are. For now, I just touched the surface. Game theory is about outcomes. In those decision trees and game trees that you draw, what is there in the leaf of the tree? Oh, an outcome. Guess what? As I will explain in later videos, not every dark personality, not every leader, not every stupid but very smart leader like Putin or the president of Philippines or the prime minister of Hungary, all these, or the president of Turkey, all these master manipulators, they don't necessarily care about the outcome. Forget about that elegant game theory and the trembling Nash equilibrium and the Nash equilibrium and all those fancy words, subgame perfect Nash equilibrium, which I try to make sense of them in simple language and how they apply and how they don't apply to our reality of the world. Because it's so easy to fall in love once you learn that the time and inconsistency of the optimal policy, when you have an equilibrium which is Nash equilibrium, but it's not subgame perfect Nash equilibrium, and then you think that you found every answer to everything in the world. Because these are mouthful words, let's face them. It's hard to not fall in love with them. But then you realize, oh, they're dark dictators who don't care about the outcome. They're in pursuit of drama. For them, the journey is the destination. They don't care about the destination, they care about the journey of drama. For Putin, I bet he's not after a clear-cut outcome in a month or in 2 months or in 6 months. He wants the prolonging of the drama. When you realize that, then you stop applying dumb application of game theory, political economic theories, utility maxims. All these things go to trash when you realize that there are such people that, yeah, they're exception to theories, but when exceptions are so dominant, why do you insist on applying the theories? Well, because you are the one-trick pony, because you are not an in, even a multidisciplinary person, much less an interdisciplinary person. And there is a big difference between multi and inter. I will talk about that later. Okay, enough for now. I started talking about the Dom and just gave you a hint of how prevalent they are. Basically, if you have a good education, chances are you're a Dom person, because you want to apply your education to every situation, especially if you're only educated in one field. If you have a good heart, chances are you're dumb, because you can't believe how dark can someone be. Oh my God, I can't believe Putin has, no way anybody has this much dark intentions. Yes, we the good people become part of the problem when we are dumb and when we don't want to educate ourselves. Just like I didn't want to open my eyes to the darkness of my ex-wife, because I refuse to believe, because it's inconvenient to see that, yes, it's possible. I kept saying, no way, she's just tired. No way, she's just angry. No way, she's just angry because maybe I was bad. Well, I don't know what I did wrong, but yeah, I must have done something wrong. No way, she's just exhausted by her job. No way. I mean, at some point, you gotta stop making excuses for the bad behaviors of others. You gotta stop believing that everybody means well, that everybody's a good person. I know it's such a cozy assumption. Oh, I want to be a peaceful Christian, and Christianity teaches me that it's good to be good, or I want to be a Baha'i, or I want to be a good Muslim, or I want to be a good this or that. And I like to believe that everybody has potential and capacity for goodness. Yes, I'm with you. I wish it was that way. And I was like, I lived 45 years of my life thinking that way. But the last 3 years, I learned how dumb I was. And I learned how much consequences it has, not just for myself, but for my child. And Ukraine is also my child. Ukraine is suffering these consequences because of us good people who only know how to make good assumptions. Oh, I want to believe everybody has good intentions, including Russia. Oh, Henry Kissinger says that if Russia is angry, it must have been because we denied them their pursuit of national interest, because we put our foot on their tail, because we may have insulted them, because we may have injured their pride. Bullshit. These are bullshit. Stop making excuses for the bad behaviors of the covert dark narcissist, the dark tetrad, which I love better than dark triad, because it explains